Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. If you are new to our channel, subscribe, get involved in everything that we discuss on this episode and drop a like as well on this episode. We've got some sad news, very, very sad news. A club legend has passed away, Charlie Aitken. He currently holds the record for the most number of appearances for Aston Villa, and I imagine that was going to be it's never going to be broken, to be fair. Kind of past my time a little bit, but not saying that you're old, Justin. But I'm going to pass it on to you because you'll be able to give him a really fitting tribute, to be fair. So over to you, Justin.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, before my time, his last appearance actually came the year I was born, but a player that came down from Scotland to Villa. I think he came down with a friend of his and had a trial, and I think his mate only went on to make 2 or 3 appearances. Charlie was signed by Villa and then impressed in the reserves, and then went on to make his debut for Villa in 1960, and then went on to be basically an ever-present for 17 years. I mean, that is quite incredible, in any era of football to be a regular starter for any club in any division, in any league for 17 years, making 660 appearances, and I think only 3 of them, if I'm right, were off the bench, so a starter in all of them. Played for us in 3 different divisions: FA Cup, League Cup, Charity Shield. Played in the UEFA Cup for us as well. An incredible player, an incredible man. I did lucky enough to meet him once, and he was very, very lovely bloke, to be fair. And for the older fans, for many of them, one of the greatest players they've ever seen. I think he's pretty much in the top 10 Villa players of all time, let alone the appearances, which probably will never be surpassed, especially in the modern game. But his love of the club, one-man club. I think he finished his career over in the MLS, playing with Pele, nonetheless, and Franz Beckenbauer, I think, for New York Cosmos. But overall, us younger fans, I still class myself just about as a younger fan, not as young as you two. I think it's very important for. I love the history of Villa. My collections go back years, and I think it's very important to go back and look at these players and what they brought to the club. Different eras, but so important to that make the fabric of our club, aren't they? So a really, really sad day, a really, really top player, and sadly missed. Shame.
Yeah, great tribute, Justin. And I imagine that for the Alkmaar game, Villa will do something before the game as well. So we'll get a real good send-off at Villa Park, especially as well. So moving on to Aston Villa's victory over Luton, 3-1. A very, very good victory, really good performance. I think for me, it kind of feels a very sort of flat win, if that makes sense. You don't get the euphoria of beating West Ham or beating Brighton or some of the teams that we've beat or some of the teams that we're going to beat, sort of, playing against teams that are higher than us. And that's no disrespect to Luton, but this feels like a big win to me because we're going to have, and I've spoke about it so many times this season, we're going to have different oppositions throw up different challenges. And at each given game, there's always a different challenge, a different opportunity. And I think these games like this, where we were dead cert favourites with everybody, like every pundit was saying, Villa 4-5, they're going to absolutely smash them. And football's not like that. Football throws up different results. Different games can be really difficult. For Villa to dispatch Luton with ease, and I'm talking real ease. First half, we were just absolutely in complete control of that game. And the point that I'm trying to make is, for whatever Villa achieved this season, these type of wins against teams like Luton comfortably at home, we need to just keep ticking them off, just keep rolling through them. So for me, it is a big win because it shows to me that teams that want to come and try and defend a little bit, we're absolutely okay now. So for me, it does feel like a big win because it we're starting to get rid of that, that little niggle at before a game in the back of your head, that old Villa niggle that's sort of like, this is Luton coming now. We're 11 unbeaten. These can do damage here. Like, we're evaporating those. So yeah, it's massive for me, and I'm really happy with how we played. So Hannah, talk to me. How was your day today?
It was another pleasant experience coming away from Villa Park today, so I can't complain too much. You're definitely right. It was a bit of a flat one, wasn't it? And I don't necessarily think that was anything to do with Villa's performance. I actually think that the way Luton played, the way Luton set up was very much to kind of put 11 behind the ball and try not to lose, which, if you're a team like that, you're coming away from home, it's your first season, you're gonna probably play like that. So it's no major disrespect to them, but I think often this Aston Villa side don't really like to play against teams that really sit back. I think we prefer it when teams come at us a little bit, but we got the job done. It was a very comfortable performance. I thought, like you mentioned, the first half was really straightforward. We get a goal in decent time, before the 20-minute mark, which again I think always helps to lift this Aston Villa side and the crowd a little bit. So it was a big boost to go into halftime winning again. We're getting a bit spoiled. I think the main point I kind of want to pull on is we do use the cliche a lot of that, there's not an easy game in the Premier League, and it's very true because, like Luke mentions, there's different challenges and everyone kind of will have a unique set of circumstances. But I think it's also a matter of not necessarily thinking that each game, oh, we might lose, this might be the banana skin, but just kind of remaining humble a little bit. And I think that's something that Unai Emery will really want to instill in this group of players, because it's very easy when we've had 4 or 5 years with a lot of these players kind of at a poor or mediocre level for them to now be reaching these heights and get a bit dizzy with it and get really excited. So I think for Unai Emery and for the fan base and the players, it's really important that we kind of do go into these games not worried, confident, but humble about it, and not expecting to just walk over, because like you say, people would have thought, yeah, we're going to win 5-0. I probably said that, but
Justin.
at the end at the end of the day, like, it's not that easy. And I think,
No.
again, I think that my only grievance again is that we've conceded a really stupid goal, and it feels like at the minute that's the one really small thing that's sort of tarnishing results. And it feels like in the last week, obviously we played 3 games, and in each of them we conceded one really like fluky, stupid goal that we probably shouldn't have done. So there's still things that we can learn. So, as much as it's all sunshine, rainbows and daisies, there's still things for us to work on here. Little bit of lapse in concentration maybe when we're on top and we are getting a little bit cocky and comfortable. That kind of needs to be tuned out, because if a mistake like that happens at 1-0 or 0-0, then it's a much different game. So, but, I'm not here to moan or be negative. I think it was really comfortable. I think that, there was never a doubt in my mind that we were gonna win today, but I think, again, it's just reassuring to see that these fixtures that previously, could have been a slight slip up or a little bit of, underestimating the opposition, we went there, we turned up, we got a 12th consecutive Premier League home win. It's ridiculous. I will say it every week we come on here. It's silly. I can't believe that we're this good. And at full time, when we were very, very short period at 4th position, I had to pinch myself because it feels too good to be true.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And you are right in what you're saying about remaining humble, because I've tried to do this on the podcast all week, and I've been very complimentary of Luton. I've tried to make everybody aware of their threats, and it's not going to be easy. Justin predicts us to win 5-0 every week, so don't listen to whether Justin thought we were going to smash Luton 5-0. But I think you're right in what you're saying. It's that we have to just think and be sort of clever with our thinking when we're going into games and what we're expecting, because like you said as well, we by far the finished article. The run probably will come to an end eventually, but we've just got to remain level-headed of what our expectation is from the team as well. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Justin, have you had enough hot dogs today?
Yes, I'm
Sweets.
full now. I don't want to eat for about a week, I reckon. Easy. No, it's good to be fair.
Yeah, you've had a good day, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Yeah, a great win. I think it was a pragmatic win today. I think we spoke about it pre-Europe that we felt that we would go strong in the European game because it was a really important game, one that we had to not lose and hopefully win. We obviously went on to win it comfortably, playing more or less a full strength side, barring the two centre halves. And I did think we might go a bit weaker in this Luton game. We didn't. We went more or less full strength. And I think you saw in the first half, first 20 minutes, we was massively comfortable, got the goal. And I thought we just took our foot off the gas a little bit. And I think that was probably something they spoke about. I don't think Luton were ever a massive threat the game. And ultimately, every game carries 3 points, isn't it? And these games, you have to just cross them off and knock them off, and that's what we did. It wasn't that long ago that we were the newly promoted side back into the Premier League, and we were trying to upset teams going all over the place. And you have to go hopefully trying to nick something. And I think they had a game plan today. I think it was more or less trying to get set pieces and trying to nick something here and there. And I don't think it was ever going to work against us because whether they sat back, we were going to pick them off, which is what we did. And if they came at us, we'd have just picked them off on the break. We tried to slow it down right at the back. Emi Martinez just hold onto the ball again to try and draw them onto us. I don't think they really got sucked into that. I think Rob Edwards has sort of drilled them enough to say, don't overly press because they'll just pick you off if you push on too deep. And I think we had all the answers for them, and ultimately that's what Unai does, doesn't he? He has all the answers before the questions are asked, doesn't he? And that's the way he goes about it. He knows what other teams are going to do, and our players are so well drilled that they know what they're going to face, regardless of what happens in each game. And then second half, we came out. I felt a bit sorry for Zaniolo. I thought he was just a bit unlucky in the first half. It wasn't his day. He's the type of player that when these things come off, they look great. But players like Leon Bailey now to come off the bench, I thought he had a really good second half. I think he's absolutely thriving now under Unai Emery. I think he utterly understands his role in the team. I think he's more than happy that he's not. He knows he's not. I'm not even going to say a starter because we know we're a squad-based team now. And what I mean is, he knows that he's not unhappy if he has to make an impact off the bench, and I think he's thriving off that. And the type of player he is, who on earth would want to see him coming on with 20 minutes, half an hour, or half a game to go to be running at you with his pace and trickery and skill? So overall, it was a great win. It probably wasn't as many goals as I thought it would be. And yes, the goal was disappointing to concede, but providing we are 3, 4, 5 and 6-0 up at the time, I don't mind the odd mistake.
Yeah, cool. Right, so what we'll do then, we'll run through the player ratings and then we'll just pick up on if there are any points from sort of that performance, like if we get to McGinn and talk about the goal, etc. So we'll go with Hannah first then. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give you goalkeeper and all of the back four. So you've got 5 players to do. So kick it off.
Okay. Martinez probably has a slight stain on his score sheet purely because I think he gets credited with the own goal, unfortunately. So probably a 7 for Martinez. I think that's fair, isn't it? But again, like he really didn't have much to do. I think Luton registered 1 shot on target, if I'm correct, and whatever that was, I don't remember it. Wasn't a difficult save, so really a quiet afternoon for him. Ezri Konsa, he's a Rolls Royce, isn't he? He's just a pleasure. Didn't do anything wrong. Slipped into right back. I think he probably made a slight mistake again for the own goal, and kind of forced it upon Martinez. But yeah, probably an 8. If we had a clean sheet, I might give him a 9, but unfortunately not. Pau, I think, has really sort of started to hit his stride in this Villa team, hasn't he? Again, another one who's just silky smooth. Can't remember I think it was in the second half where he kind of drove forward with the ball. It was in the middle of the park and he kind of dinked it over one of the Luton midfield, and everyone was just like dirty. So yeah, he looks class. I'd give Pau an 8. If we could do halves, I'd maybe do an 8.5, but we don't have that functionality. Luca Dean, I think again, is someone who's really impressed me this season. Probably didn't expect the Moreno injury to kind of drag on this long and for Luca Dean to be playing this many games, but he's really kind of carved that role for his own, hasn't he? And when Moreno is fit, you can't put him straight back in, I don't think, because Luca Dean has been doing such a good job. Probably today's delivery wasn't as good, but I also think Luton played really narrow. They didn't particularly like us getting the ball out too wide. So I'll probably go a 7 for Luca Dean today. I'm not sure if he got injured at the end either, but hopefully he's okay. And then Matty Cash. Again, probably a slightly more quiet attacking game. I think he had a bit more joy in the first half when we were able to attack a little bit more wide down that right side. But again, I don't think he really did anything wrong. So I'd probably give him 7, 8.
Yeah.
7. We'll go 7. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I
And
think
then that's our back 5.
all pretty fair what you've said, really. The averages of what Villa fans have give the players are on the right as well. So you can see what the average Villa fans give and then what we give on the left. But yeah, I'll probably agree with that. I think Pau's looking fantastic. Like, that was a good game from Pau. There was things that he's sort of been caught at times. There was one time where it was out on that left hand side and there was a player and he was standing up a player and he just went through and won the ball. The flicks, brilliant. Defending, great performance. So for me, he's one that might be getting man of the match, but we'll have to see what the ratings are. Justin, Kamara, Louise, McGinn, and Zaniolo, and then I'll do the rest.
Okay, mate. I thought really the 2 6s, Kamara and Louise, didn't have a lot to do, did they? They controlled the game really well. They weren't. I mean, I thought Kamara did well with that. I mentioned it on the group chat actually about halfway through the first half. The way he just sits back in and creates a back three to allow the fullbacks to bomb on. He does that really well without even thinking about it. A role that I think McGinn was playing quite a lot, wasn't he, last season, tucking in and covering where, it suits Kamara's game. He's big, he's sturdy, he's got a good passing range, he's very aware around him. So I think, a solid 7 there. I don't think much better than that, really. I didn't think he didn't really need to be more than a 7 today, to be honest. No. I think that was just a nice, comfortable 7. And probably I'll give Louise the same. The way, the levels he's been at recently, I don't think he's dropped below them. I don't think he really needed to go above a 7 today. 7, as with both of them, has given us a comfortable sort of shield for the rest of the team to sort of kick on from. McGinn, again, I think he had a really good game. I think he's really flourishing now in this role a little bit further forward. He's making it, dare I say, almost his own now. It's very difficult to leave him out, let alone that he's the captain of the side as well. But he's adding that, one of the things that was always thrown at John McGinn is, why don't we get the Scotland John McGinn that scores the goals? There we go, H. Why don't we get the Scotland John McGinn that bombs forward and gets goals and he's late arriving and he's a threat in the box? And now he's starting to add these goals to his game, then he's going to start becoming the complete midfielder for us. He can sit back, he can cover the 6 role, he doesn't mind doing the dirty work, getting up and down the flanks, he loves the tackle, he drives on, as the captain of the side. I think he's fairly vocal. I think he's grown into this role, and now he's adding goals to his game. I thought it was a fantastic finish. Took it lovely on his left side, dragged it on the outside, and with his right foot, buried it in the bottom corner. And I think he's really relishing. So I think 8 for me there.
Yeah.
And touched on Zaniolo. It wasn't his best game for us. I think he tries really hard, and the lad needs a goal. If he gets a goal, I think that one chance in the first half, which if it was a deliberate setup from Ollie Watkins, then it could have been one of the greatest assists of all time, because for me, the ball come across and he just literally chipped it up in the air. And if Zaniolo had ran onto it and buried it, it would have been an incredible goal. But I feel a bit sorry for him because he's been so close to breaking his duck for Villa. And I think when he gets one, he'll really kick on. So I'd probably say a 6. I think 4.8 is a little bit unfair. I think he didn't really do anything wrong. It just didn't happen for him today. So that's where Did you say that was it? Up to Zaniolo, yeah? Yeah, okay,
And
I'll shut up now then.
he did have another chance as well that the keeper saved,
Yeah,
quite
I
close
thought the keeper
range.
did well
So
for them actually today. I
yeah,
think he needed a bit. First 20 minutes, half an hour, he pulled off 3 or 4. The double save from Watkins was tremendous.
yeah. So we'll touch on DRB. Unbelievable. He's unbelievable. His pace, like it's his pace. It's literally it's frightening, absolutely frightening. And I did speak about on the match preview about some of you, if you were paying attention, would have heard me say the gap in between their midfield and their defence. Villa can get in that pocket, and I felt like that was an area that Villa could exploit. And the RB in that pocket there was just scintillating, and he's really good at that finish, isn't he? We saw that finish against Newcastle on the opening day, where it sort of just comes down first time, hits it, absolutely quality. And yeah, he crossed it across the box for Watkins, and Lockyer put it in. And I just think he had a real good game, and in those type of games where they sit a bit deeper, it's important that we do have that player that can drive at pace. And I thought he was brilliant, so I'd have to agree with the average of a 9. I thought he was fantastic. Watkins, I think, a bit like Luis, a bit like Kamara, was a bit quieter, but again, he still was a threat, wasn't he? He had that one where the keeper pulled off the double save. If Lockyer didn't put it in his own net, then Watkins would probably have had a tap in. So I think it was just a good, well-rounded game from Watkins, that he was doing enough to sort of pose big problems. So I'd go 7 for Watkins. Bailey, I'm going to go. I'd agree with the 8. I think when he came on, like Justin was saying, it's not that he's not a starter. I think he knows his impact off the bench now. And I think he knows that when he comes off the bench, how much he can contribute to the team. He megged one, didn't he? And he got fouled. And the
Yeah,
Luke Dean cross where Diaby scored, he was the one that was trying to get the header to knock it back down. He had a chance as well that went wide. So he's coming on the bench here. So at half time, and he's made a massive impact to the team. And I think that's all what we've wanted from Bailey. So I can't speak highly enough of Bailey, because what he's doing for the team is just absolutely fantastic. And then I think the rest, Carlos, Tielemans, Troy, Dendonka, I'd say solid 7s. It's great to see Carlos back at Villa Park in a Premier League game. That was massive. Tielemans again. I think it was for that Baelish chance that he had when he just lofted it over, or was it for Diaby? And I
yeah,
just thought that was a
yeah.
beautiful ball. That was, that was a great ball. So his vision and his confidence is getting there as well. So yeah, great scores. It's what we want. Nobody below a 7, was there?
No.
Zaniolo was the 6. So
I
what
think
are you
what's
going to say,
interesting
Justin?
now is that looking at those sort of match stats is that we've got such a good side, and we know that we're a well-rounded side. We're strong in all the positions now, and that when you have a player like Watkins, who leads the line, scores most of our goals for us, and Louise, who's probably been our standout player above everybody this season, he's been unbelievable. And when they are having a 7 out of 10, you then got a Diaby throwing in a 9, and you got a McGinn scoring a goal, and then you got a Bailey coming off the bench, and as long as everybody's a 7 minimum, for a fact that in our attacking 6 or 7 players, at least 2 of them minimum, if not 3, are going to be 8s and 9s, and that's where your match winners come from. So to have the spread of quality throughout this side is why we're as good as we are, in my opinion. Now, we've got so much threat in our starting 11, but we've also got threats off the bench, and it's creating this super side really that we are at the moment. I'm not understating it, and I certainly won't be understating it for a long time, because these kind of teams and eras and seasons don't happen very often. They just don't. So I'm going to enjoy every minute. And we've now had 5 home games, and I think we've scored 20 goals in the 5 home games. We've put 4 past Everton, 3 past Palace, 6 past Brighton, 4 past West Ham, and 3 past Luton in our first 5 home games. I can't ever remember that. I just can't.
No.
So I'm going to
The
enjoy
point
every
there
minute of it.
about, like it's so nice that we've reached a point where we don't just have like 1 or 2 absolute like star players where everything is just focused on getting the ball to them, which a lot of teams will have. I think now we're at a point where we have a proper team, like a proper squad, and by the end of the season we could have several players that reach double digits for goals. Like look at Lewis, he's already on 6. So we could have 3 or 4 players that reach double digits, which means that we're going to be winning games of football.
Yes. Do you want to say? Felt like you wanted to say something then, Justin.
No, I was just going to say, and yeah, I was, and the knock-on effect of that is it becomes really, really hard for opposition teams to try and nullify us, because where do you stop Villa? If you can shut Watkins down by doubling up on him, or you say that, right, Diaby's the threat here, lad, so when he gets the ball, you two go over there, and they'll say, well, what about Leon Bailey, the other side, and who's picking McGinn's runs up, and Louise's late runs into the box, and Ollie Watkins is playing off the back of our centre-half? What are we doing about him, boss? It causes so many problems for opposition teams, and nobody's really worked us out yet, have they? And I don't think they will, because when they think we have, then Unai comes up with another plan, doesn't he, to nullify them? So long may it continue, eh?
I was just going to say the same. Long may it continue. Who's next? Fulham, we'll have you. So, like, Delia Smith, we'll be having you.
Let's be having you. Where are you?
That's it. That's funny, though, isn't it? Imagine so here he comes on at half time.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
brilliant. It is brilliant.
Right, so we'll leave it there then. So again, on a match day at home, we've had loads of content come out. We've got the fan cam that's been out. We've got TikToks that have come out. We've got YouTube shorts that have come out. We've got this that's come out. We'll have the debrief tomorrow. And then we'll turn our attention to Forest, and we'll have a good week's build-up of Forest, which is going to be, again, another difficult game. So, looking forward to it. Look forward to every time we see Villa play anyway now. So thank you everyone for supporting Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.